In the warm, shallow reefs of the Indo-Pacific, beneath the dappled sunlight filtering through crystalline waters, lives one of nature's most remarkable creatures. Barely larger than your finger, yet possessed of abilities that rival some of the ocean's most sophisticated predators. Meet the clownfish, a creature so extraordinary, so utterly improbable in its talents, that if it existed only in fiction, we would dismiss it as implausible. For decades, these fish were simply the colorful residents of sea anemones, curious oddities in the eyes of science. But in recent years, researchers have discovered that clownfish aren't simply inhabitants of the reef. They are, in fact, architects of their own destiny, blessed with cognitive abilities that challenge everything we thought we knew about fish intelligence. Most animals see the world much as we do, in the spectrum of visible light. But the clownfish sees something entirely different. In a revelation that transformed our understanding of these fish, scientists at the University of Queensland discovered that clownfish possess a hidden superpower. They can see ultraviolet light. Their iconic white stripes, so boldly obvious to our eyes, are actually something far more sophisticated. These stripes reflect ultraviolet light, creating a secret visual language that only members of their own species can detect. It is, quite literally, an invisible ink message written across their bodies. The implications are profound. Whilst a predatory fish approaches from across the reef, unable to perceive UV light, a clownfish can identify friend from foe, signal dominance or submission, and communicate across distances in near total secrecy. The brilliant orange and white that makes them so conspicuous to us becomes, to them, a covert broadcasting system. But the ultraviolet vision system serves another critical function. The tiny planktonic creatures upon which clownfish feed do not absorb UV light, making them appear as dark silhouettes against the background, far easier to spot. It is an adaptation so elegant that it solves multiple biological problems simultaneously. Now, if ultraviolet communication were the only remarkable ability clownfish possessed, it would be quite remarkable enough. But perhaps their most startling talent came to light only very recently, in 2024, when researchers at the Okinawa Institute of Science and Technology made a discovery that fundamentally altered how scientists think about fish cognition. The clownfish, it turns out, can count. Not merely count, but use numerical discrimination to make informed social decisions. When researchers presented clownfish with intruders bearing different numbers of white vertical bars, the fish responded with precisely calibrated aggression based on their mathematical assessment of threat level. A fish bearing 3 stripes, the same as themselves, triggers the most vigorous attacks. 2 stripes provoke moderate aggression. 1 stripe receives minimal response. And fish with no vertical bars are essentially ignored as harmless non-competitors. They are performing enumeration. They are counting. They seem to be very good at distinguishing color, and this suggests they are able to count the number of bars in order to recognize the species of the intruder. The implications are staggering. If a creature with a brain the size of a grain of rice can count, it forces us to reconsider our assumptions about the distribution of intelligence in the animal kingdom. The relationship between a clownfish and its host anemone is one of the most intimate partnerships in the natural world. It is so perfect, so mutually beneficial, that it seemed, for decades, to be the very definition of symbiotic harmony. But beneath this facade of cooperation lies something far more complex, a relationship governed by chemistry so intricate that science is only now beginning to understand it. A sea anemone is, in effect, an underwater assassin. Its tentacles are studded with millions of nematocysts, specialized cellular weapons that fire like biological harpoons, each one delivering a payload of venom powerful enough to paralyze small fish. For virtually every other fish that encounters an anemone, these stinging cells trigger immediately, resulting in death and consumption. For the clownfish, they do not. This is perhaps the most foundational mystery of the clownfish-anemone relationship. How is the clownfish immune? For many years, the answer seemed straightforward. Clownfish possess a thickened mucus layer that physically prevents the anemone's stinging cells from discharging, a protective coating, in essence, like biological armor. But recent research has revealed that the truth is far more sophisticated. In a remarkable discovery published in 2025, researchers identified the presence of N-acetylated sugars in the skin mucus of clownfish, metabolites that are absent in non-symbiotic damselfish. These sugar compounds appear to play a critical role in preventing the anemone from recognizing the clownfish as food. It is not simply that the clownfish is armored. Rather, it is disguised, chemically cloaked in a molecular signature that says to the anemone, "I belong here." But the relationship extends far beyond immunity. When Auburn University scientists examined the relationship between clownfish and their host anemones, they made a discovery that transformed how we view this partnership. The clownfish's waste, its faeces, in plain terms, has profound effects on its host. The clownfish's ammonia-rich excrement provides essential nitrogen to the anemone. This nitrogen fertilizes the photosynthetic algae, the zooxanthellae, that live within the anemone's tissues. These algae are the anemone's primary source of nutrition, produced through photosynthesis directly within the host's own body. Without the clownfish, the anemone's algae become malnourished. With the clownfish, they flourish. The anemone grows faster. It regenerates more efficiently. It reproduces more successfully. The clownfish, in return, receives not merely protection, but genuine nourishment. The anemone shares its meal with its resident. Uneaten prey items fall to the base of the tentacles, available for the fish to consume. The anemone even appears to supplement the clownfish's diet directly, offering scraps of tissue. This is not simply parasitism or commensalism. This is true mutualism, a relationship in which both partners are materially better off. But if we believed we had fully understood the clownfish-anemone relationship, recent research has forced us to reconsider once more. In 2019, scientists from multiple institutions analyzed the microbiomes of clownfish and their host anemones, the vast communities of bacteria that live on their surfaces. They found something entirely unexpected. After symbiosis begins, the clownfish and anemone begin to share microbial communities. Specific bacterial families appear in the mucus of both partners, whilst remaining absent from fish without anemone hosts. This is not simply cohabitation, this is convergence. The two organisms, through proximity and chemical signaling, are literally merging their biological identities at the microbial level. The implications are profound. The clownfish-anemone symbiosis may depend upon this microbial integration. These shared bacterial communities may be essential to maintaining the partnership's function. It is a biological merger, so complete that the line between individual organisms begins to blur. The life cycle of a clownfish is a story of transformation, of epic journeys, and of mortality so high that survival seems miraculous. It begins not in the safety of an anemone, but in the open ocean, a realm of crushing predation, starvation, and currents so vast that many larvae will never find their way home. Clownfish breed year-round in tropical waters, with activity often peaking around the full moon, a timing that some scientists believe allows hatching larvae to escape to sea on high tides. In a single spawning event, she may deposit between 100 and 1,500 eggs, a clutch of pinhead-sized spheres that adhere to the rock via tiny filaments. On night 6 to 10 after spawning, the eggs hatch. Transparent creatures barely 3 millimeters long, with enormous eyes and minuscule bodies. In the darkness, they drift upward into the water column, swept away from their home anemone by nocturnal currents. For the next 10 to 15 days, these larvae will float in the open ocean. They will feed on microscopic zooplankton. They will avoid predators thousands of times their size. They will be transported by ocean currents across distances of hundreds of kilometers. This pelagic phase is far shorter than in most reef fish. Whilst many fish larvae drift for 70 days or more, clownfish accomplish it in a fortnight. In Oman, scientists identified clownfish that had successfully dispersed over 400 kilometers, the longest documented larval dispersal for any marine fish species. At some point during their pelagic phase, the larvae undergo metamorphosis. Their transparent bodies begin to acquire color. Stripes begin to form, and then they settle. Driven by still mysterious cues, chemical signals in the water, light patterns, the presence of specific anemone species, the juvenile clownfish locate an anemone host and, astonishingly, swim directly into its stinging tentacles. This is the moment of initiation. The anemone's nematocysts fire, but the juvenile is not unharmed by luck alone. Rather, a remarkable dance ensues. The juvenile, in a behavior called the inoculation dance, repeatedly touches its body against the anemone's tentacles. With each contact, it receives a dose of nematocyst fire, a small sting, not lethal, but enough to trigger an immune response. Over hours or days, the juvenile's mucus layer thickens. Its chemical signature aligns more closely with the anemone's. An immunity is built, not innate, but learned through exposure. And then finally, the juvenile can rest safely amongst the tentacles that would kill any other fish in moments. The anemone, recognizing the chemical and microbial signature as familiar, ceases to fire its weapons. The juvenile has found its home. Despite decades of intensive research, enormous mysteries about clownfish remain unsolved. We know they can count. We know they can see ultraviolet light. But we do not yet fully understand how they chemically recognize their host anemone during settlement. We do not fully understand the precise mechanisms by which their mucus confers immunity. We do not fully understand how their larvae navigate the open ocean or identify suitable anemones to settle upon. Science, in short, is still only beginning to understand the clownfish. Recent genomic studies have identified genes under positive selection in clownfish, genes that have been shaped by evolution to allow adaptation to specific host anemones. Remarkably, clownfish that specialize in a single anemone species evolve more slowly than generalist clownfish that associate with multiple species. This is counterintuitive. One might expect that specialization would drive faster evolution, not slower. The explanation appears to be that generalists face more diverse environmental pressures and thus evolve more rapidly to meet those challenges. Specialists, by contrast, are locked into a stable relationship with a stable host, and thus evolution proceeds more slowly. But the genes driving this specialization remain largely mysterious. What genetic changes allow a clownfish to recognize its preferred host? What genes govern the chemical camouflage? These are questions still being investigated. The clownfish, small though it is, humble though it appears, is an indicator species. Its survival tells us something about the health of the entire reef ecosystem. What happens to the clownfish will, ultimately, happen to us. The clownfish is a reminder that the natural world is stranger, more complex, and more wonderful than we might imagine. A creature small enough to fit on your fingernail possesses the ability to count, to see invisible light, to undergo complete biological transformations, to navigate hundreds of kilometers across an open ocean, and to form one of nature's most intimate partnerships with a creature of an entirely different kingdom. And yet, for all our research, for all our understanding, mystery remains. The clownfish still holds secrets. The ocean still surprises us. In learning about the clownfish, we learn not merely about a single species, but about the astonishing diversity of life on our planet, about the endless creativity of evolution, and about the profound beauty hidden in the world beneath the waves. The clownfish, a small fish with an extraordinary story.